Good morning, everyone. You're watching World is One News. I'm Aisha Sindhu. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is speaking in Myanmar's capital right now. Let's cut across right away and listen in to both him and Aung San Suu Kyi.
We believe that peace and stability is the most important for development, because without peace and stability, development is not sustainable, and without development, peace and security is not sustainable either. So they are mutually interdependent. And we would like to thank India particularly for the strong stand that has taken with regard to protect terrorist threat that aims our country and public ministry. And we believe that together we can work to make sure that terrorism is not allowed to take root on our soil or on the soil of neighboring countries. We believe that bilateral relations between countries are built on trust and understanding. Trust that
All right, so there's a bit of an audio issue we're facing in trying to hear Aung San Suu Kyi. We'll, of course, get details of what exactly the state councillors had to say. Of course, India's Prime Minister also going to be speaking shortly. We'll get you details on all of that. But just to bring everyone up to speed, the Rohingya crisis is a hot topic. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is conducting bilateral talks with Myanmar State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi, the lady on your screen right now. The two leaders have met at the capital and held discussions on a variety of issues relating to, among other things, the Rohingya crisis, terrorism, trade and commerce. India and Myanmar's delegations also signed some key agreements during that bilateral. The two sides also signed an agreement on cultural cooperation for 4 years between India and Myanmar. Announcement on an electricity and line of credit will be made during that press briefing after bilateral talks. That is what Ravish Kumar just told us. Okay, so the audio is back. Let's listen in to Aung San Suu Kyi.
And for this also, we appreciate the relationship between our two countries. I'm supposed to say that Prime Minister Modi's visit has opened up a new era, but I think we don't need to open up a new era. The friendship between our two countries has always been good, so it's not a matter of opening a new era, but of just further strengthening what we have already had, what we built up at the time of our independence 70 years ago. Our path towards independence was very close. The fathers of our independence movement were close to each other, and I think this closeness has been maintained throughout 7 decades, and we truly believe that it will continue to be maintained in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I have the honor to invite the Excellency to deliver a speech.
Your Excellency, the State Councillor, distinguished delegates, friends from media, मिंगलाबा 2014 में एशियान समिट के अवसर पर मेरा यहाँ आना हुआ, परंतु स्वर्णिम भूमि म्यांमार की यह मेरी पहली द्विपक्षीय यात्रा है। लेकिन जिस गर्मजोशी से हमारा स्वागत हुआ है, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे मैं अपने ही घर में हूं। इसके लिए मैं म्यांमार सरकार का आभारी हूं। एक्सेलेंसी, म्यांमार पीस प्रोसेस का आपके द्वारा साहसिक नेतृत्व प्रशंसनीय है। जिन चुनौतियों को आप मुकाबला कर रही हैं, हम उन्हें पूरी तरह समझते हैं। रखाइन स्टेट में चरमपंथी हिंसा के चलते खासकर सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस और मासूम जीवन की हानि को लेकर आपकी चिंताओं के हम भागीदार हैं। चाहे वह बड़ी शांति प्रक्रिया हो या किसी विशेष मुद्दे को सुलझाने की बात, हम आशा करते हैं कि सभी स्टेक होल्डर्स मिलकर ऐसा हल निकालने की दिशा में काम कर सकते हैं जिससे म्यांमार की एकता और भौगोलिक अखंडता का सम्मान करते हुए सभी के लिए शांति, न्याय, सम्मान और लोकतांत्रिक मूल्य सुनिश्चित होंगे।
Your Excellency, the State Councillor, distinguished delegates, friends from the media, Minglava. In 2014, I had come to Myanmar for the ASEAN Summit. But today, when I come to the golden land of Myanmar, I really, this is our first bilateral visit for me. But the way in which I have been welcomed, I really feel as if I have come home. And for that, I'd like to thank heartily the government of Myanmar. Excellency, your courageous leadership to the Myanmar peace process needs to be lauded. The challenges which you face and all the difficulties that you are facing, we can understand that completely. We share your concerns about the extremist violence in the Rakhine state and especially the violence against the security forces and how innocent lives have been affected and killed, and we share those concerns. Whether it be the very important peace process or resolving any other special issue, we hope that all the stakeholders together can find a way out in which the unity and territorial integrity of Myanmar is respected, and at the same time we can have peace, justice, dignity and democratic values for all.
Friends, मेरा मानना है कि भारत का लोकतांत्रिक अनुभव म्यांमार के लिए भी प्रासंगिक है और इसलिए म्यांमार के एग्जीक्यूटिव लेजिस्लेचर तथा इलेक्शन कमीशन और प्रेस काउंसिल जैसे संस्थाओं की कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग में हमारे व्यापक सहयोग पर हमें गर्व है।
Friends, I feel that India's democratic experience is relevant to Myanmar, and therefore in Myanmar's executive, legislature, election commission and press council, these are institutions where we have comprehensive cooperation programs in capacity building.
पड़ोसी होने के नाते सुरक्षा के क्षेत्र में हमारे हित एक जैसे ही है। यह जरूरी है कि हम अपनी लंबी जमीनी और समुद्री सीमा पर सुरक्षा और स्थिरता बनाए रखने के लिए मिलकर काम करें।
As neighbors in the area of security, our interests are the same. It is absolutely necessary that we work to safeguard our long land border and maritime boundary for security and stability.
सड़कों और पुलों का निर्माण, ऊर्जा के लिंक्स और कनेक्टिविटी बढ़ाने के हमारे प्रयास एक अच्छे भविष्य की ओर संकेत करते हैं।
Road and bridge construction, energy links, our efforts to increase connectivity all point towards a brighter future.
कालादान प्रोजेक्ट्स में हमने सीतवे पोर्ट तथा पलेटवा इनलैंड वाटरवेज टर्मिनल पर काम पूरा किया है और रोड कंपोनेंट पर काम शुरू हो गया है।
In the Kaladan project, the Sitwe port and the Paletwa inland waterways terminal work has been completed on these two projects, and now the road component work has started.
अपर म्यांमार की जरूरतों को पूरा करने के लिए भारत से हाई स्पीड डीजल ट्रकों द्वारा आना शुरू हो चुका है। हमारी डेवलपमेंट पार्टनरशिप के तहत म्यांमार में उच्च कोटि की स्वास्थ्य, शिक्षा तथा अनुसंधान की सुविधाओं का विकास प्रसन्नता का विषय है।
To fulfill the needs of Upper Myanmar, we have been supplying high-speed diesel through land by trucks. And under our comprehensive development partnership, we have been cooperating in high-quality healthcare, education, research, and these are issues of happiness for both the countries.
इस संबंध में म्यांमार इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी और एडवांस सेंटर फॉर एग्रीकल्चर रिसर्च एंड एजुकेशन विशेष रूप से उल्लेखनीय है। ये दोनों शिक्षा के प्रमुख केंद्रों के रूप में तेजी से उभर रहे हैं।
In this context, the Myanmar Institute of Information Technology and Advanced Center for Agricultural Research and Education are two institutions that need to be highlighted. In the times to come, these both will become centers of excellence.
भविष्य में भी हमारे प्रोजेक्ट्स म्यांमार की आवश्यकताओं और प्राथमिकताओं के अनुरूप ही होंगे। हमारे दोनों देशों के बीच आज हुए समझौतों से हमारे बहुमुखीय द्विपक्षीय सहयोग को और भी बल मिलेगा।
In the future too, the projects in which India will give cooperation to Myanmar will keep in mind the needs and priorities of Myanmar. And the agreements that we signed today will further strengthen and deepen the multifaceted bilateral relations between the two countries.
Friends, मुझे यह घोषणा करते हुए खुशी हो रही है कि हमने भारत आने के इच्छुक म्यांमार के सभी नागरिकों को ग्रेटिस वीजा देने का निर्णय लिया है। मुझे यह बताते हुए भी खुशी हो रही है कि हमने म्यांमार के 40 नागरिकों को छोड़ने का निर्णय लिया है जो इस समय भारत की जेलों में बंद है।
Friends, I'm indeed very happy to announce that all Myanmarese citizens who are desirous of traveling to India will now get gratis visas. I'm also happy to announce that 40 Myanmarese citizens who are currently lodged in Indian jails are being released.
हम आशा करते हैं कि वे जल्द ही म्यांमार में अपने परिवारों से फिर से मिलेंगे।
And we hope that very soon they will be reunited with their families.
एक्सेलेंसी, नेपिटो में मेरा समय बहुत सार्थक रहा। म्यांमार में अपने शेष प्रवास को लेकर भी मेरे मन में अति उत्साह है।
Excellency, in Naypyidaw, the time that I have spent here has been very useful and very relevant, and I am now looking forward to the rest of my visit.
आज मैं बागान में आनंद टेम्पल जाऊंगा। आनंद टेम्पल एवं अन्य ऐतिहासिक व सांस्कृतिक इमारतों में पिछले साल के भूकंप से हुए नुकसान के बाद भारत के सहयोग से रिनोवेशन हो रहा है।
Today, I will be going to the Ananda Temple in Bagan. This temple, along with other historic and cultural structures, were damaged in the earthquake which happened last year. And India is extending cooperation for renovation of these structures.
यंगोन में भारतीय मूल के समुदाय से मुलाकात के अलावा मैं धार्मिक और ऐतिहासिक महत्व के स्मारकों पर भी अपनी श्रद्धा अर्पित करूंगा।
In addition to meeting people of Indian origin, the Indian community in Yangon, I will also be visiting religious and historic sites and pay.
All right, we'll try and get back to the statements being made by Prime Minister Modi at the
Confident
capital.
that in the times to come we will work for mutual benefit towards strengthening and deepening and making this relation even closer, and we will work together.
Jeju Tin Bade, धन्यवाद।
Jeju Tin Bade, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Aung San Suu Kyi, both having made those comments. Very quickly, to take those of you joining us on the broadcast right now through what each of them said. Ms. Suu Kyi said that she'd like to thank India for the strong stand that it has taken with regards to the terrorist threat that has come into her country. She said that together they will ensure that terror is not allowed to take roots in Myanmar. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India's democratic experience is relevant to Myanmar as neighbours, their interests are similar in the area of security. He also announced free of charge visas for Myanmarese citizens desirous of travelling to India. So, all in all, a feel-good presentation there by both leaders. We'll go through the specifics of what the two of them said shortly with our guests who are with us in the studio right now. Mr. V.S. Seshadri, the former ambassador of India to Myanmar, joins me here, as does WION senior foreign editor Padma Rao. Good morning, both of you. Thanks very much for being here with us. Ambassador, I'd like to come to you first. Just off the bat, what do you make of Prime Minister Modi's comments?
I think the official level talks, which are slowly coming to an end, have really been good.
Okay.
In fact, after yesterday's meeting with the Myanmar president, our Prime Minister tweeted, it was a wonderful meeting. And today, as you can see from the body language and the warmth that has been expressed by both people, both the leaders, it's very clear that they have had very good discussion. The atmosphere has been good, there's been warmth. And of course, both of them have set out in some detail what has been the substance of their discussion.
Sure.
And the Prime Minister's statement, in fact, he has also appreciated the ethnic peace process to which the Myanmar government, particularly Aung San Suu Kyi, has given the highest priority.
Right.
And of course, that's a great issue for them, which has been there hanging for about 7 decades now. It won't be easy, but I think she is making serious efforts to see if that can be done. And his recognition of that, and then he has also mentioned about the Rakhine issue.
Yes, he
did.
He
has offered India's cooperation in any way that can be done. Of course, he has stressed that all the stakeholders need involvement. He has stressed that it will be in a manner that keeps the integrity of the country, the unity of the country, and all. These are the all
the democratic processes of both countries.
So I think the other aspect, he has dealt quite a lot on the development cooperation aspect, starting from the sharing of the democratic experience, which could perhaps be an example for Myanmar. And here I must say that the two countries, and Myanmar has readily accepted the training offered by India for some of their parliamentarians to visit our parliament. And even at the time, about 5 years ago, when they were framing basic rules regarding how to frame rules for the parliamentary committees.
Yes.
They have come here, spent some time, had 30-day programs, etc. And the Honorable Prime Minister mentioned about the Election Commission. That again is another area where there has been substantial kind of sharing of experience.
Absolutely. So he's touched upon a variety of things, and not to take away, Padma, from a lot that's been talked in terms of development, in terms of cooperation, the shared history and culture between the two countries. He did mention Rakhine, he did bring up the Rohingya crisis, and interesting for him to do so, because there were question marks on whether the Prime Minister would like to sort of foray into that touchy and those testy waters. What do you make of that?
Oh, I think it's a huge, giant step forward from the days of not only what we call the policy paralysis about other countries, primarily because we had a coalition government at the centre which was frozen in terror, you know, at being seen as doing anything that was even remotely politically incorrect, such as recognizing the, let's say, if not recognizing, but at least learning to cooperate with the with whoever's ruling in Myanmar and in other countries.
Right.
That is where the Chinese had an edge, and that's why the Chinese were able to, because China, when it goes in to invest, doesn't really hold a candle to what domestic, political scenarios are like. Whereas we were very, very much bound to this massive international pressure. In fact, this international pressure you see again now, against Aung San Suu Kyi herself,
yes,
for not mentioning the Rohingyas or leaving them out out of certain statements. And I agree with the ambassador. What we are doing now is a much more pragmatic approach to other countries. And I think it's, as we were saying earlier, it has a twin benefit, this investment in development of a region where there are, sectarian conflicts, as well as which is an underdeveloped area. I see that as a very smart twin approach, actually.
Absolutely.
So, in fact, even as we speak, Ambassador, I read that there is a Malta. Now, this is Western interference, which I'd also like to hear from you about. There's a ship that has been rescuing African refugees in the Mediterranean, and this ship is now coming to the Bay of Bengal, ostensibly, to rescue Rohingya refugees,
right?
And this kind of thing. So that is something that India is shaking off. This pressure from the West in the name of human rights.
And I think it's really interesting you say that, Padma, because the choice of using Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, for instance, that's a domestic policy in many ways, a pet project of the Prime Minister's. And I'd like my colleague Kartikeya Sharma, who's standing by in Myanmar, to weigh in on that for us. In many ways, Kartikeya, by referring to Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas in his interactions with Myanmar, the Prime Minister perhaps indicating that no neighbor is too small or too big for India to bring along in his idea of development.
Absolutely, and I think it's more about the importance. It's more about you can't pick your neighbors. It's as simple as that. And the fact that most of our boundaries are so unstable, and couple have been so unstable. Look at the 80s and 90s in terms of Sri Lanka, or the Madesi agitation, which really rocked Nepal, whether during the Rajiv Gandhi's tenure or the one which happened right now. Look at our borders on the western side with Pakistan. So, we have very few places where the borders are stable. And it becomes imperative on part of India to culturally, politically, economically invest in these countries to ensure stability of the border. And then on top of it, you have an economic imperative, It's not possible for India to have a free trade from Pakistan to Afghanistan to Iran or the Central Asian countries. That's where, One Belt, One Road initiative of China is working.
Right.
For India, in terms of an economic vision, the Act East policy works very well. Right now you have some sort of stability in Southeast Asia, though there is a Chinese influence, but India also has goodwill there. You would remember, Aisha, India has decided to sell BrahMos to Vietnam, which Chinese-Israeli Act never wanted Indians to do that. So we are strengthening our relationship with Eastern economies.
Sure.
And here, yes, it becomes different because we share a colonial bond with Myanmar. We don't share that with Thailand and other countries, but with Myanmar, it goes a long way. You would be surprised to know one of the kings of Myanmar actually, inspired from one of the old ancient legal treaties, built the first legal framework in Burma.
Okay, Kartikeya, if I can ask you before we get into the broad strokes of what was discussed, can you give us a few more details on what were the agreements that were signed between India and Myanmar today?
See, the four issues which I have come to know. One is the line of credit, which has been confirmed to me. Second is there's some agreement on electricity, which will be there. Third, the press councils. There is an agreement between Myanmar's press council, which Prime Minister obviously mentioned, and cultural cooperation in terms of restoration of temples and pagodas for next 4 years, which is primarily the work of Archaeological Survey of India. The rest, I think, we'll come to know, Aisha, in the next half an hour or so.
Fair enough. Ambassador, if I can ask you, going back to Kartikeya's first response, do you think India in some ways is not only playing catch-up in terms of, let's say, the inroads that China's made into Myanmar, but also covering up for a lack of, let's say, outreach towards Myanmar by previous dispensations?
I think there are a lot of things that have also been said by the Prime Minister in terms of some new initiatives. Mm-hmm. For example, he mentioned about high-speed diesel,
right,
from Numaligarh refinery finding its way into Upper Myanmar. Now, if this can be successfully done, it's a huge plus for both countries. Because the refinery capacities in Myanmar, particularly Upper Myanmar, is limited. Mm-hmm. And this refinery in Upper Assam can be of greater benefit to that area. And this is again another area where perhaps no other country is better placed than to be of help to Myanmar.
Okay.
And this strengthens cooperation. And due course of time, maybe not just high-speed diesel, but downstream products as well can find their way into Myanmar. So there are therefore number of areas that can strengthen the cooperation. The Prime Minister mentioned about the Kaladan project.
Yes.
He has also said very clearly that the road project construction has begun, which is again a huge plus, which means that there's a great deal of attention that is now being given to connectivity projects between the two countries.
So I'll ask you to please hold that thought for me. I'm being told that we need to take a quick break. There are some requirements that we have to see through too, but I'll ask both Padma and you to stay on with us. Also, Kartikeya, stay with us here on the broadcast. Quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking about Myanmar. We're going back there and to Bangladesh as well, because the big meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Aung San Suu Kyi has just gotten over. We'll get you all the details on that, much more on the other side of this short break. Stay with us.